I don't know if any of you remember my early videos, but remember I said that by the time everything's all said and done, all of us are going to be Trump supporters? Well, I guess I was right. Just FYI, if you take this, if you didn't support Trump, if you didn't vote for him, if you hated him, if you're a Kamala voter, Kamala supporter, and you accept this money and you don't flush it or give it back or donate it to charity, you're a Trump supporting grifter, your goddamn self. You're nothing more than that. So let's listen to what he's going to say about this stimulus that you guys actually voted against when you voted against Trump. At least Trump had something to offer during the election. What the fuck did Kamala offer you? Nothing. You know she offered you? Abortion. What's abortion, Rico? Death. So she offered you death, and you were happy to take that. So let's see what Trump is offering.
Again, floating the idea of sending Americans rebate checks. 2 Months Know's Ben Briscoe looks at the chances of this becoming reality.
Wait, is it me or is she kind of cute? I don't know. She's a little sassy, little something. Is this an Atlanta station? WFMY? Where is this located? I don't know. Wait, what we talking about? Okay. Oh, stimulus. Oh, yeah, right.
A giant $2,000 check out of nowhere sounds great, but there's still a lot of questions about how this would work. So let's get you some answers. First, where is the money coming from? President Donald Trump says the checks would be payouts from revenue collected through higher tariffs.
Wait a minute. Weren't some of you idiots complaining about the tariffs? Weren't a lot of you fake economists who are actually, you know what's funny? All the people that were economists 6 months ago, over the past 30 days, we found out they're all on EBT. The government feeds you. Why are you giving financial advice? You can't even take care of your own household, but you're trying to give us numbers. You're telling us the rest of us numbers and trying to guide us on how tariffs work and how Trump doesn't know what he's doing, but you can't even feed your fucking self. Shut up next time. I'm so glad we just had this government shut down and expose everything. But let's get back to it.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000.
There may not be enough money for Trump's plan. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget calculated that the checks would cost almost $600 billion. But the new tariffs are only bringing in about $350 billion.
Did you just say the tariffs that did not exist before Donald J. Trump took office 10 months ago? You mean to tell me in the past 10 months, we've, as a nation, we've pulled in over $340 fucking billion, and you had the nerve to say, only? When has another leader of this country brought in hundreds of billions of dollars in less than a year? I'll wait. See, as far as I know, it's always money going out. It's never money coming in. Everyone wants to tell me, Rico, America's not a country, it's a company. What kind of fucking company is losing money every day? Now we're actually if we really are a company, we're being run by a businessman who is doing business. Listen to this idiot liberal explain this again. Let's run it back.
Dollars. But the new tariffs are only bringing in about $350 billion.
I stand corrected. This dumbass said 350 billion with a B. Not 1 billion, not 2 billion, 350 billion in tariffs that did not exist before he took office. And now they're saying, oh, it's probably going to cost, to give everybody 2,000, it's going to cost 600 billion. It shouldn't. But guess what? Before we had tariffs, we magically found ways to send 300 to 500 billion to countries that are not our allies, countries that we don't share borders with, countries that we don't owe anything to, countries that our president at the time had his son on the board of one of their energy companies. That was the connection, quid pro quo. Now, don't get me wrong; that's a corrupt country, the Ukraine that I'm referring to, and did in a way we bribe their politicians so that we can send their men and women to war, just so that we can see what the Russians' weapon capabilities were. Because that's all that Ukraine was, right? It was a weapons test. We poked the bear to see what they would do. They beat the dog shit out of NATO, but they gave us a glimpse of their secret capabilities. Remember the Orishnik? Remember the Orishnik when they wiped out 5 city blocks in less than 10 seconds? Why do you think we are not with the Ukraine fighting the Russians right now? We know better. So if we can magically come up with $500 billion to send a wasteland on the Russian border just so that we can see the Russians' weapons capability, I'm sure we can find half of that to make up the downfall to send to Americans. You know what this is really called that Donald Trump's really doing for you ungrateful inbreds? It's called profit sharing. Instead of completely adding all of this money to the federal deficit, which is just going to put a dent in it, but I mean, the next president is going to make this bigger anyway and inflate it. But instead of doing that, he said maybe it'll be better in the pockets of Americans. What a lot of you don't realize that all Americans don't live in New York, California, Atlanta, or Houston. In most of the country, $2,000 it could be 2 to 3 months rent for some people. That could make their whole Christmas. That could make Thanksgiving. And they're talking about these checks coming out within the next 2 weeks. I cannot believe somebody just tried to minimize the fact. Why are we not talking about this every day? Why is this not national news? $350 billion profit for the United States in 10 measly months. And you want to tell me the tariffs don't work? That's why I don't trust any of you and I don't take you seriously.
Elon political science professor Jason Husser says it's possible that Congress could pass smaller checks.
We have seen a U.S. senator.
By the way, the man that was talking, you can tell by the lisp, smaller checks. You can tell he's a gay liberal. That's why he's saying all this weird shit about Trump. It's only 350 billionth dollars. Just shut the hell up. Do you know how much money that is? We don't make that kind of money normally. Nobody does. They told us these tariffs were going to bring our country back, and it did. Trust and listen to the man. And honestly, if you weren't a Trump supporter before and you're going to accept this cash, just keep in mind, you're going to be kissing the ass of the king. See, I'm a Trump supporter. I was supporting him. I helped him get elected. It's different for me. But for you that were fighting against him and talking about Kamala, but you couldn't name one policy of hers, every penny that you spend out of that 2K is you just taking to Trump's ass. So what they should do is when you go to pick up your check, right? Or if they even direct deposit it for the funds to become available, they should have like a bronze like person that goes and make a casing of his ass, get it bronze. And when you go to pick up your check and you sign for it, you got to kiss it and take a picture wearing a MAGA hat like this one, just so that you're reminded of who you are and what you had to do to get the money. Because you voted against this. Kamala didn't offer you nothing, no hope, no future. She had no prospects for business for our country. And you didn't care. You didn't care about the economy. You didn't care. Do you know how many people I keep seeing on Facebook and Instagram talking about, oh man, look at these food prices. You think? They were high 4 fucking years ago too. You're about 3.5, 4 years too late. Where have you been all this time? Well, you been on some kind of sabbatical? You were fasting? How are you just now barely noticing food prices are high now that Trump's president? Because you were dead silent when Kamala was in charge, weren't you? I'm sorry, these people just piss me off.
Senator Hawley talk about doing a $600 check. That does fit sort of the back of the envelope math that this might be possible. But when we're talking about the scale that President Trump has alluded to, it does seem to be more money needed than what has been brought in by tariffs.
Who gets the checks? President Trump posted more detail on True Social, writing that the checks would be paid out to everyone, but not including, quote, high-income people. I reached out to the White House to see how they would define high income, but I haven't heard back.
Hey, look, you don't need to talk to the White House, dumbass. Go to Facebook. We have whole posts about it. Let's see here. Single filers with an annual income of $75,000 or less will receive the full $2,000. Luckily for me, I amended my tax return, so hopefully I qualify. But it was saying I made too much, and I don't know. But I talked to my accountant. I did file the amendment in time, so hopefully, I'll be able to qualify because I put a lot of work in to make sure my guy got into office. I remember every girl I was dating in Houston. If you couldn't give me a good excuse for why you wanted to vote for Kamala, you couldn't come around me. So next thing you know, I got a bunch of people like, well, let's go to the voting place. And I would just give people a ride and show them where it's at because they're not involved. They'll talk all this shit about politics, too lazy to get up and go actually vote. So let's see here. Single filers or of 75,000 or less will receive the 2K. Married couples earning up to 150, so a combined 75,000, will also receive it. If the head of the household earns 112,000 or less, they'll qualify. So according to this, anyone alone making over 112, 113,000 is considered high income. And I guess they would be receiving a reduced amount or nothing. It says individuals with incomes over these limits will still receive the reduced payment as the benefit phases out gradually. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, let's go back to the video.
But economic researchers at the Pew Center say high-income households earn double the median income. That puts the cap for getting the checks at about $211,000, according to information from the Federal Reserve.
That's for a married couple. I only gave you the number for an individual. If you're an individual, you'd be making $113,000, or if you're over 112, 113,000, you wouldn't qualify for the full amount, basically.
Will this really happen?
I don't know right now that we're going to see a $2,000 check, but I would not be surprised that there would be something that is at least a symbolic gesture that the difficulty these tariffs have caused for many people.
The tariffs didn't cause difficulty for anybody. Not anything more difficult they've already been dealing with. That guy right there is the same person who told you the race between Trump and Kamala was close. He's the one that told you that Megan Thee Stallion twerking with Glorilla was going to get that bitch elected. You can't trust anybody bald wearing checkers, and it looked like the agent from the show that used to have The Rock on it when he was a retired football player. Anyone with that look and that face, don't trust them. Don't listen to them. And anyone with a lisp, don't listen to and don't trust either. So back to what I was saying. If you accept this money from Trump, but you voted against him, you're literally kissing that bronze ass when you pick it up. And every penny, you're going to hear, every penny you spend, you're going to hear a caw, like a bald eagle in your ear, reminding you America is feeding you and America is taking care of you and Trump is taking care of you. Now, if you really hate Trump and you really hate conservatives and you really hate everything we stand for, you'd burn the check. Or the money hit your account, you'd donate it to a charity instantly. You will not spend it because you shouldn't want any of his, what do you say, is his blood money? His 34 count. You don't want felony money, do you? You don't want money from a felon. You're not a grifter, are you? You're not disingenuous, are you? You're standing on business, right? You don't want the money. You're going to give it away. You're not going to actually accept money from a felon, a 34-time felon that owes E. Jean Carroll $1 billion for something that she doesn't even know what year she says it happened in. You wouldn't accept money from somebody that dangerous and that barbaric, would you? Because if you do, then what does that say about you and your character? Now, for me to accept it makes perfect sense. I helped put him in office. I weighed out the pros and the cons. All the pros were with Trump. I was a supporter years ago. I actually donated money to do the audits for the Arizona Maricopa County election when there was fraud discovered. Supporter of Kerry Lake. So This is what we've earned, the supporters. So for us, it makes sense. For the rest of you, it does not. The funny part is illegals won't be getting a check because they're not citizens. It's even funnier when we do the numbers now, we find out the majority of Kamala voters were illegals. That's why they wanted them over here so bad. The people that were showing up and illegally voting all voted for Kamala. Illegal aliens voted for Kamala. So they weren't getting a check anyway. The disenfranchised blacks and gays that hate Trump now but can't explain to you why, don't spend the money. You don't want his money. It's disgusting. You should be ashamed. You should have more self-respect and dignity to accept than to accept a penny from your mortal enemy that you hate with all your heart. But just realize this though. If you accept the money and you spend $1 of it, by default, you are a Trump supporter. So no one should take you seriously or listen to any of your cries about how horrible he is because you took the money he gave you. You know what that means, right? That means you consent. Implied consent. That's actually physical consent. You physically and you're verbally imply every form of consent, you gave it for anything that happens going forward. So just keep that in mind before you consider if you're going to be spending that evil 34 count felony money. Just keep that in mind before you make a decision. I'm Right Wing Rico. This is a single boyfriend on YouTube. Follow my page. I have another couple of shows we're going to do tonight. I'm going to finish this one up right now, but like and subscribe, share the video, and I'm going to read your comments, do some replies. Thank you. We got a donation on the PayPal. Thank you very much for $10 from Michael Rice. Thank you, Mr. Rice. I appreciate your support. I'm new to this. I'm not monetized on here, and I don't have a super chat that I know of. I can just see some of the chats, so I appreciate you. For the people watching me on X, thank you. Come to YouTube if you can. I'm building up more followers every single day, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll see you again shortly, and we'll have more topics. Cheers.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.